Learning how to code should be easy, clear, and completely free. And this is why this class is made. Many people want to learn how to code, but are intimidated and confused. Give me 20 minutes, and I'll help you lay a foundation that will last a lifetime. Hello, and welcome to the Python Beginners class, lesson number 1. This is a hand-on class, and it is meant for anyone 9 years and older. Yes, you can learn at a very young age. This one is hands-on because I will show you how to actually do the coding instead of just showing you examples. Here's an outline of today's class. We'll first talk about what is an IDE development environment to make you be able to do your own coding. We talk about 4 critical concepts: how to print a result, what are variables, and how to do branching and loops. Those are key concepts in a computer programming career. Now, what is a IDE? IDE is simply a place where you can input and experiment with your code. This is a playground for coding. And the ones that I'm going to talk to you today, including Colab and Python shell, they require 0 setup time and can be used by any age, anywhere. Now, what is an IDE? IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Think of this like this, right? You write a document in Microsoft Word, you write a presentation in PowerPoint, and you can code in IDE. IDE is simply the software. Let me show you. There are 2 IDEs that I'm going to introduce and use. One is Google Colab, and one is python.org/shell. Both of them are free to access. Python is a very useful language and is very easy for anyone to run. You can run it from anywhere. The code and compiler is already installed on most computers. Most people just don't know it. I'll show you 2 popular ways. Number 1 is to go to python.org/shell. When you have this shell window open, you can type in Python command, for example, print hello world, and press Shift and return. It will run. Google Colab is a free tool. Anyone can register and use it. So when you go to Google Colab, Google, you can set up your own account. That shouldn't take very long. You can have a new notebook. It starts with a cell. This cell is where you can type in commands. Now that you know how to handle the IDE, let's learn coding. Now let's look at the first command, print. Print makes a computer tell you something so that you know the code is actually working in the background. We can print a phrase, hello world, and you can write the print in a different format. Let me show you how this works. First, we're going to use the no-frill python.org shell to do programming. This is the most basic. You can type in a command, print hello world, and then type Shift and return. This will give you hello world. We can also type in a variation, for example, print hello, comma, and world. Again, Shift return, hello world. By the way, this is a really good point for you to pause the video and fire up your own browser and follow along. You can come back to the video after you are prepared. We can also introduce the term variable. A variable is simply a computer register whose value can change. Here's an example. We let the variable x be hello world. It's a string variable, and we print x. Let me show you how this works. We can assign a variable. For example, we let x equal to hello world. And then we print x, Shift return. It prints hello world. Here, x is what's called a variable. you can assign x equal to 1, and you can print x. It will print 1. There are several different types of variables that are commonly used. One is a string type, an integer type, a float type, and a boolean. Let me show you what they are. A string type is a word or a phrase. Car, boy. An integer is a number without the decimals. 1, 2, 45, 43. A float is a number with the decimals. 1.1, 2.04, and so on. A boolean is a true or false statement. For example, 4 is less than 5 is true. Let me show you some examples to give you some ideas. We can assign x equal to 2 and y equal to 3, and we can print 2, we can print x plus y, and it will give us 5. Think of coding as giving a computer a set of instructions. You may want to give it some options. This is called branching. Computer code runs from top to bottom, but it's very important sometimes to set up a branch. Let me give you an example of everyday life. For example, in our daily life, we have a routine. We wake up, have breakfast, go to school, have lunch, go to library. Sometimes you may have to use a branch. For example, you may want to have a different schedule on Sunday. You wake up, have breakfast, and then is today Sunday? If today is not Sunday, then you go to school, have lunch, go to library. If today is Sunday, then you go to a park, watch a movie, and go to a coffee shop or do something else. It's relaxing. This is how branching works in a computer code. So we can make codes based on conditions. In this example here, we let x be 5 at the beginning. And the code goes like this. If x is less than 4, we print x is less than 4. It is very important to use the colon here to indicate the syntax. Else, we print x is greater than 5. Actually, I made a mistake here. You need to actually use colon. Otherwise, the computer would think there's a mistake. Let me show you how this works in the IDE. In the main part, we use Python shell. Near the end, I'm going to show you the same exercise using Colab. Now let's do a branching experiment. We let x equal to 5. If x is less than 4, we want to print x is less than 4. Otherwise, else, we want to print x is greater than 4. Again, shift and return. Because x is equal to 5, it is greater than 4. It is important to notice the indentation here and the colon that we added. Those are important for the syntax. It's like using correct grammar and punctuation. And sometimes we may want to repeat a certain part of a code. This is called a loop. Let me give you one example. You have 7 days in a week. At the start of the week, you start a new day. It's day 1, and you carry out day 1 activities, and then you finish day 1 activities, and then you go back to a new day, And then you have day 2 and day 2 activities. And you go back to a new day and so on and so forth until this week is finished. This is called a loop. One way to do a loop is to use a while statement. Let me show you one example. We first let I equal to 3. So we give this variable I an integer. And while I is less than 10, here's a colon, we repeat this set of commands. This set of commands is indented. So so the computer knows that those are the things that it's supposed to run if I is less than 10. It's supposed to print I and then increment I by 1. Here we let I plus 1 equal to I. This means I is increased by 1. Let me show you how this works. Let's look at an experiment of repeat. Let's make I equal to 3 to start. And the loop is going to happen as long as I is less than 10. And while the loop is happening, we want to print I, and we want to increment the number for I by 1. So I is equal to I plus 1. This is interesting because we're using I plus 1 to replace I. So let's run it, shift and return. You see it run from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The next one, it will become 10, so it exited the while loop. Here's yet another method to do looping. For I is in range of this range, which is in parentheses. In this case, if I is between 2 and 10, we want to print I. Let me show you how this works. For I in range 2 to 10, print I. We must put the I in a parenthesis because print is a function. Shift, return, and you see it print from 2 all the way to 9. You can have nested loops. Basically, you can have loop in a loop. In this example, we let x equal to 1 first and y equal to 2 first. While x is less than 10, we loop this code. But in the code, we have another loop. This loop says while y is less than 5, we print x times y. And we increment x by 1 and increment y by 1. So this is a loop in a loop and allows you to do more complex things. The nested loop is used very often and is a lot of fun, but it's out of the scope of this lesson. I have a link below that you can use to get more familiar with this concept. A computer can also take your input from the keyboard and use it as a variable. Let me show you this bonus feature. For example, here you can enter your name, x equal to the input. And whatever you input will be printed out as hello plus x. Look for the link below for a special feature using this concept. In summary, we covered print, if, while, for, and variables. You now should be able to use an IDE of your choice. And remember that codes run from top to bottom. The code path can branch and can go back and repeat. I hope you like this. I have other videos on the channel. For example, how to do a password verification. Here's a bonus feature. Why is that important to learn computer? Why is computer important? Why is computer coding useful? Computers are used in a lot of things. A lot of times you don't even see a computer, but a computer is at work. Computers can be used for business automation, to access database and interact with humans. And you can certainly have a website and network, and you can access the awesome power of computers' crunching number capability. And that is beyond any humans can handle. Coding makes you have a very powerful ally. Thank you very much. My name is Chang, and check out our other classes on STEM Bay. We provide safe, fun, and personalized learning of coding. Thank you and hope to see you again soon. As promised, let me show you how to do the code examples using Colab. Here's a bonus section. Before you go, remember we showed all the examples using Python shell. Now we're going to show the same examples using Google Colab. Now let's do the programming exercise in Google Colab. Google Colab is a very powerful IDE. It can go from the very basic day one activity all the way to AI programming. So here we introduce a concept called notebook. The shell is replaced by a fancier notebook. It has a lot of usefulness. So start a new notebook. And you're first presented a cell. In the cell, you can type anything you want. Print hello world and shift return. You can see that it is connecting to Google Cloud. After it's connected, it will run hello world. We can also let x equal to hello world and print x. You see that one of the powerful feature of this IDE is that it can suggest some of the completions for you. Sometimes the completion is incorrect, sometimes it is. So if you like it, you can just shift and return. It will print hello world. You can let x equal to 2 and y is equal to 3. And you can print x times y. It will print 6, which is 2 times 3. So you can even use it as a calculator. Let's practice with the if statement. We let x equal to 5. And if x is less than 4, we want to print x is less than 4. Else, we print x is greater than 4. You can see that the IDE actually recommended all the codes that I wanted to write. So here we do shift and return. It says x is greater than 4. If we let x equal to 3, it will say x is less than 4. The power of Colab is you can always go back and run this particular cell, or you can run the entire code. The way to run the entire code, all the code cells, is to go to runtime and run all. Now let's build the loops in Colab. We'll let I equal to 3 first. And while I is less than 10, we print I. And we let I be equal to I plus 1. So we're replacing the register of I with a new value, which is I plus 1. Run it, and we're going to have 3 all the way to 9. After 9, it adds 1, it becomes 10. So the loop condition is no longer met, it jumps out of the loop. We can also do a loop using the for statement. For I in range of 2 to 10, print I. Here we don't need to replace I with I plus 1. And you can see the result. 2 all the way to 9. 10 is out of the range. We can run from beginning to end, run all. It is this simple. Now thank you for sticking around for the extra material. You are a hardworking, genius coder in the making. Keep it up, and see you around at the next episode.